This is my wife, Megan. She was born in the United States.
This is my husband, Mohammed. He was born in Saudi Arabia.
Recently, we filed an application to change my immigration status so one day I can apply for a citizenship in the US.
The immigration process has ups and downs, but mostly it's a lot of waiting for the unexpected to happen. For example, one day I'm sitting in my office and I get a phone call to my personal cell phone. Normally, I wouldn't answer this type of phone call, but it's a 937 area code, so I figure, why not? What's the worst that can happen? I answer, and it goes a little something like this. Hello, is this Megan Garrison? Yes, this is her. May I ask who's calling? This is, name I now don't remember. And I was wondering if you, by any chance, knew a Mohammed Alhamza. I'm a little confused, but I just say, yeah, I know Mohammed Alhamza. And then he asks, what is your relationship with Mohammed Alhamza? And this is the most times I have ever heard or said my husband's full name out loud, but I just reply with, Mohammed Alhamza is my husband. The stranger who just called now tells me he's surprised that we are now married. And then he tells me that he's a Homeland Security agent and he would like to ask Mohammed a few questions. My stomach drops, but I figure this is normal. This is the immigration process. So I calmly, maybe not as calm as I would like to think, ask him, why did you call me instead of him if you wanted to ask him questions? And he goes, I did call Mohammed, but there was no answer. And I said, oh, he's probably off running errands or something. So we have one car. We have one car because we had to sell the other car to pay for the immigration petitions, because immigration petitions are really expensive. This is important because the next question our dear friend Homeland Security agent asked me was, do you still drive the white Honda Accord, and do you still live at insert this address here? This is when I start to answer the questions with a very suspicious slow draw. Yes, I still own the white Honda Accord, and yes, I do still live at insert my address here. He doesn't miss a beat, and he just says, well, if Mohammed drives your car, I interrupt, he does, but it's legal because he's on the insurance and registration. He cuts me off and says, well, if Mohammed drives your car, then he's home because the car is outside your apartment right now. I freeze. And then I immediately open my web browser at work, start frantically messaging my husband and being like, there is a Homeland Security agent downstairs at our apartment right now. Please, under no circumstances, do you go downstairs to meet said Homeland Security officer until I'm able to get a ride home. At that time, the Homeland Security agent is like, hey, do you have any way to get a hold of Mohammed? And I'm like, yeah, I'll give him a call. I'll call you right back. So I hang up the phone. I take a deep, calming breath, and then I launch myself out of the office and look for anyone that can either give me immigration advice and or a ride home to the apartment. I'm also frantically texting my husband, who's still not answering, my mother, who's freaking out, my sister, who's like, I'm getting in the car to leave right now, and my friends. Clearly, I'm handling it very well.
Meanwhile, I just finished washing the dishes, and I was petting my cat like I usually do every day. I saw my phone on the table. There are some notifications, didn't think much of it. Probably some sports result from the day before. I went ahead and looked out of the window, and I saw a truck I'm not familiar with, and there is an AT&T van as well. I was like joking to myself, it's like a spy movie. There's an agent and there's a couple of them in disguise. Then I went to check on my phone. I saw a couple of texts and a call from my wife saying there is an agent downstairs. So I wasn't off thinking anyway. There's an agent. And she was saying, he's calling, just stay put. Now I'm starting to think about the situation. I don't want to look suspicious and make him wait because I'm not doing anything wrong. But at the same time, I heard about people being taken this way. So I decided to go down there, face whatever might happen. Didn't even change. I went down in my BJs and my flip-flops.
So since I didn't hear from Mohammed, I do the next best thing, which is Google the Homeland Security agent within an inch of his digital footprint. Let me tell you, I found nothing. This man is an internet ghost, which somehow makes it more believable he works for the government. So I decide the only thing I can now do is to call him back. So I do, and he picks up right away, and he's like, did you get a hold of Mohammed? And I was like, no, I didn't, but how about this? You sit tight, I'll get a ride home, the three of us will sit down and have a nice, peaceful chat. And he responds, no, I want to get this done with today before I leave town. So with that, I'm about to come up with some excuse when I just hear him go, Mohammed. And I'm waiting, and he goes into the receiver, I think I see Mohammed now. He's just stepped out the front door. Inside, I am screaming, because he's done exactly what I told him not to do. But into the receiver, I simply say, oh, okay, that's great. The security agent, obviously sensing my nerves, asks me if I would like to be kept on speakerphone as he asks the questions. I think whatever higher power is listening, that this agent has some sort of soul, and gratefully accept my speakerphone privileges.
So he put his phone on a speaker and started to ask some questions. He started with, how did you and Megan meet? Told him that I was invited through a friend to her apartment warm party. We started dating after that. After a while, I moved in with her. Then he asked, when did you guys get married? I was like, June 29. He's like, this year? I was like, yeah. Then he started to ask about, was that before or after your student status? I was like, it's after. We had to marry quickly so we can file the petition. She was aware of it. Then I remembered, I proposed in January 26.
This was the moment I realized I married the most honest man in the world, and that it was the worst character trait.
Yeah, I should probably lead with I proposed.
Yeah. So then, our dear friend, the Homeland Security agent, pivots his questioning to me, and he starts asking me questions like, do you know what's happening in Saudi Arabia right now? Do you know what kind of Muslim your husband is? Do you know who he comes from? And I calmly answer that I know that Mohammed is a Shia Muslim, but he's not a strict practitioner anymore. So the security agent asks me, what's the difference between Sunni and Shia Muslims? And I full on blank. I can think of all the times that Mohammed had sat me down and told me all the differences between Sunni and Shia and how I didn't listen. And in this moment, I could not remember anything at all. So I just puzzled together some kind of coherent answer.
I was nervous when I first heard the question, because I remember over time I talked about it with her, but I know she's not gonna remember much of it. I give her that she gave a good answer though, and then he went closer to the phone and he's like, everything seems good. And he made the joke about handcuffing me. I laughed with him.
I did not laugh.
I was scared from the inside. But then he was like, everything, thank you for being on the phone with us. He hung up the phone and he looked at me. I have some questions for you. Can we keep going inside? I was like, I'm in front of him. If I was gonna get taken, probably it would have been happening anyway. So, sure, come on in. And as we're going upstairs, all I can think of is my lovely wife, that she is freaking out. Just want to know that you're left already.
So the phone clicks off and I start freaking out. I start texting him immediately, are you okay? Is he gone? Are you inside? Is everything all right? And I hear absolutely nothing in response. I know my sister is on her way to come pick me up, so I try really, really hard to stay calm. And to stay calm, I just start Googling things like, where would they detain him if they took him? And would they tell me, his wife, where they're detaining him if they took him? And what happens if I finally get home and all traces of him are meticulously scrubbed from my apartment like he never existed? So after 15 minutes, Mohammed finally messages me back with just an, I'm fine. And my sister's still 10 minutes away, so I decide to just ask my coworker for a ride home.
We went upstairs, he asked to use the restroom. I was like, okay. can I text my wife? And did that. I'm fine. Then he started to ask me questions about, do you know about any certain groups of people who are trying to hurt the US government? It's like, I don't know such a thing. Assuming that he means people from my region, which I don't really hang out with anymore. Then he went ahead and was like, do you want to file a complaint about anybody who is discriminating against you? Told him, honestly, I don't remember anybody who did that. Then he's like, everything seemed good. He stood up and he's like, here's my number. If you hear about anybody who's trying to hurt the country's safety or somebody discriminating against you, let me know. Help me help you. I was like, of course. And then started escorting him downstairs, watching him leaving, and I'm pretending to go back inside. I didn't want him to see me watching him, and he's like, okay, let me take him with me. And went back outside waiting for my wife to get home.
So pretty much all at once, we converged on the street in front of our apartment. My sister's car pulled up, me and my coworker pulled up, Mohammed's already standing there. I get out of the car and I run towards him and I hug him, while simultaneously telling him that he is the stupidest man alive for going downstairs in the first place. But mostly, I'm just super relieved that he's okay and that it turned out a lot better than I expected it to.
And since that day, we haven't heard anything from the immigration nor Homeland Security about anything, and we're just waiting for more unexpected things to happen.
But we're firm believers that no news is good news.
But sometimes being honest pays off at the end.
And somewhere there is a Homeland Security agent that is on our side.